Hello everybody. I wanted to talk a little bit about some changes that are in the Canvas the Canvas pages for this class coming up. Made a couple of changes. Wanted to point out a couple of things to you. First off, from now on, when you go to modules, I will have the same sort of layout for each of the modules. There is going to be kind of a different look, though. Some students have been talking about these sort of check-off options that help them keep track of what they've accomplished and sort of organize things. So I just wanted to go through what the module is going to look like. You'll notice that for each page or activity or quiz or link or whatever, that there's a little label underneath it. For example, for week 11, the overview and to-do list has a little view, and for when it says view, all you have to do is go to that page and view it. I'm just asking you to read it over, to look at it, to see it, to know what's on the page. And then when you go back to modules after that, then you'll notice that there's a screen check, and it just means that you went to that page, you viewed it, you know what's there. There are some pages that ask mark as done or mark done. And when you go to those pages, like all of the lesson pages for the weekly readings, when you go to those pages, I'm going to ask you to do something like I always have, but there's nothing to turn in. So anything that is an assignment, it's an activity, but it's not something that you have to turn in, is going to be one of these mark done pages. So, for example, this week we're starting to read about modern Southwest Asia and North Africa. So the Middle East, North Africa, what's going on there today. And in the text, one of the topics is migration and trade. And we'll be focusing on migration and trade in modern Southwest Asia and North Africa. And it takes you step by step, like it always has. You're going to read page 272 and 273. And so here, let's go through that process. Go to your online textbook. Some of you are using your regular paper textbook, and that's totally fine. But when you go to your online textbook, you'll click on the textbook box and you'll go to your textbook, and we're going to 272, Migration and Trade, and you're going to learn about modern or fairly current migration and trade. And for instance, what ethnic groups are still using traditional methods for migration and moving around. For instance, you'll learn about the Bedouins, and you'll learn about the Tuareg, and you'll learn about guest workers, and all of those relate to migration and trade. So there you go. You've got this assignment. You are jotting down a few summary notes in your notebook based on your lesson, and we can go through that again sometime. I'll do another lesson on effective note-taking. And then, after that, you should be doing this part here, where you're going to your notebook after you've taken down some notes, before you move on, and you are creating a Chapter 10 review page where you're making a space, basically, to answer your questions. And that's on page 292. So 292, there's the review section, and you're going to sort of set up your page so that you're ready to answer these questions. And you're going to check your vocabulary, and you're going to look in the textbook for the vocabulary words, and you're going to begin answering the main idea questions with question 1. And there's question 1. Guest workers and migration. And it gives you an example of the sentence you should write. You should write a sentence like this. So from now on, you're not going to get any points if you just list the words. You're not going to get any points if you write definitions. You're going to have to write one sentence that includes both terms and that explains the connection between them, just like this. Guest worker, migration. Modern migration in the region includes guest workers from many countries. And when you're looking at, the whole lesson on 272 and 273, it'll explain what guest workers are. So make sure that you're writing those down in your review page, and you have a separate page that you're jotting down some notes. When you're finished with that, then you click Mark as Done. You'll see the green box. You'll say, I did it. It's marked as done, so that when you go back to your modules, you'll see that not only have you viewed this page, but you have marked done that assignment. And this is how you just keep track of it. Then you know where you're at. If something isn't complete, it'll have a red circle with a negative on it. Once all of these things are complete, this one up here will be a green check. So that's a way that you can make sure that you're keeping track of everything. All right? So I hope that helps, and it's something that's a new feature that I'll be using regularly. So from now on, for this quarter and for next semester, that's what I'll be doing. Thanks for joining me.